of Revenue Bill, Amendment Bill 2024, that has been stated by factors in which this House is a complicit in the author of our own misfortune. We ought not to have been here. We must have read the signs of time and did the necessary arrangement, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the Constitution of Kenya and Article 203 is explicitly clear on what needs to be considered in the allocation of funds between the two levels of government. And one of the two conditions I want to highlight, Honorable Speaker, is that the allocation should be in such a manner that allows the country governments to perform effectively and deliver services to the people of Kenya. Because the hallmark or the thrust of devolution was to enable services to be devolved adequately to the people of Kenya. The question we keep on asking and we will continuously ask until somebody will have the courage to tell us so, is the amount being given to the county governments, is it adequate, is it excessive, or is it inadequate? That's the question we need to ask. Has there been any form of costing of the services to ascertain how much does it cost to provide health care to a particular person? How much does it cost to provide water to a particular person? How much does it cost to provide water or other services to any particular person? If we continue to politicize the process as we have always done, always a grandstanding between the National Assembly and the Senate, we'll forever make decisions politically oriented without having a scientific approach to determining these particular services. And Honorable Speaker, we have always argued, and we have always argued continuously, incessantly and without flinching, that the cost of providing health care in Nairobi cannot be the same cost of providing health care in Sioport. They're completely different. Has there been any scientific approach to determine, or do we just do it for purpose of meeting the spirit and letter of the Constitution just for the political expedience? Honorable Speaker, and I want to challenge the Budget and Appropriation Committee. From where I sit, the Parliamentary Budget Office is well resourced. The heads are fairly very educated people and experienced people. They can take this research or this develop a model, even if the Commission of Revenue Allocation is only interested in allocating funds between the two levels of government. Honorable Speaker, the other aspect that is very clear in the Constitution is the issue of fiscal discipline and effective use of resources. I wonder if there's any single time before we do a DORA, whether the committee, Budget Appropriation Committee, ever calls for any report to indicate this is the situation, what we have, this is the amount we have given. Has it been effectively and efficiently used? Do we even, when we do the counter revenue allocation bill, do we ever punish any particular county that has been wasteful in the utilization of public funds, that has not allocated funds as required in the PFM Act between recurrent expenditure and development expenditure, so that we punish those who fail to comply and reward those who comply, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, in the same vein, and Honorable Lachi has mentioned, the county governments were never supposed to be cost centers. What they are supposed to be as well as revenue generating centers. Where does the own source revenue go to, Honorable Speaker? For heaven's sake, why would Nairobi County require money from the Treasury? Why? The land in Nairobi alone, the land rates in Nairobi alone are enough to run the affairs of Nairobi without having to depend on the National Treasury. Are we able to ask those hard questions? Or are we so timid politically that we do not have the courage to ask these questions and get answers, Honorable Speaker? It is time that we get away from this minimalistic approach and this approach that we simply have to do what the Constitution says. Are we able to question? Many of us, if you ask a typical ordinary Kenyan, anytime he recognizes CDF, more than county government projects. Why? And considering the CDF is just a very paltry, it's a very small element of the money compared to the funds given to the counties. We must now, time has come, we must interrogate. And I want to ask the chair, Public Accounts Committee, yes, will be put under pressure. Orders will come from the house in the hill. You must comply. But have the courage to even have it in the report, your report, questioning, are we having value for money for the funds that we are allocating to the county governments? Honorable Speaker, I see we are allocating 380 billion to the counties as equitable share, excluding conditional share of the revenue. And we are indicating, Honorable Speaker, that we are providing that when he calculates, it comes to 24.2%. Honorable Speaker, that's not true. And it's good to be very factual and realistic to the people of Kenya. We must be realistic. We have proposed the budget of 2024-2025 based on projected revenue. And the revenue is close to something about 2.2 trillion. If you do a calculation, Honorable Speaker, it is not 24%. Let's be factual and realistic to the people of Kenya. Tell them the truth that we are basically
Order,
paying 17.
Honorable, the chair of budget, this one may require your listening because you may have to speak on it. Proceed.
Chair, I know.
A point of order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I didn't intend to interrupt my good friend, Dr. Udo, but I think for the sake of informing Kenyans without misleading them, Dr. Udo knows very well the sharing is on audited and approved reports. It's not on the projected revenue. I think it's important to go on record.
Honorable Speaker, and for record purposes, Dr. Makali Mulu knows, and all of us knows, that we already have audited accounts for 2022-2023 that have already been laid before this House. If the House takes inordinately long to review and approve, then you cannot really punish the counties. You cannot proceed to mislead the nation that we are giving them 24%, yet the truth of the matter is far much less than what is it's just closer, as the chair said, to the floor. We are not even anywhere above the floor. We are just, probably we have just put a carpet to increase the distance from the floor to where it is. So we need to be very clear, and this one we must be very clear. We must call upon the House, and this House is us, to move with the speed.
Did I hear another point of order? Yes. No, I go to the chair budget.
Honorable Chair, when we are in this House in such a day, there are Kenyans at home watching. And when they watch, they take what we say with a lot of weight, because they think, rightly so, that we should be informed as we talk in this House. The Constitution is very clear that when it comes to equitable share, the basis is the last audited financial statements. There is no provision about what time the House should take in approving them. It talks about approved, not the submitted. And therefore it is proper that we direct our debate in regards to what matters. What matters is approved. What does not matter is the submitted. So that even as Kenyans watch us,